Good evening. I'd like to call to order the reorganization meeting of the Wyoming Valley West School District for Wednesday, December 14th. On a roll call, please.
Mr. Pazinski.
Here.
Mr. Damascus.
Here.
Mr. Hardwick.
Here.
Mr. Keating.
Here.
Mr. Usavage.
Here.
Mr. Perfetto.
Here.
Mr. Majer. Mrs. Cassatt. Here. Mr. Camus.
Here. I'd like to call for a motion for a temporary president, please.
I'd like to nominate Tom Pazinski.
Second.
Any other nominations?
On a roll call, please.
Again, say the name.
Mr. Pazinski.
Yes. Tom Pazinski.
Mr. Damascus.
Tom Pazinski.
Mr. Hardwick.
Tom Pazinski.
Mr. Keating.
Tom Pazinski.
Mr. Usavage.
Tom Pazinski.
Mr. Perfetto.
Tom Pazinski.
Mrs. Cassatt.
Tom Pazinski.
Mr. Camus.
Tom Pazinski.
All right, Mr. President, Mr. Temporary President. Our next step would be for the temporary president to call for nomination for the election president.
Okay, we need a nomination for next year's president.
I'd
Do I
like,
have anybody nominating?
I'd like to nominate Rick. Rick
Camus?
Camus, thank you.
Second.
Is there anybody else? How about a second?
We don't need a second, just be the roll call vote on. Is any other nominations? With
No,
no
they
further-
said none.
Yeah, with no further nominations, just the. roll
Okay,
call.
we'll have a roll call now, please.
Mr. Pazinski.
I'd say yes.
That would be Rick King.
Yes, Rick Camus.
Mr. Damascus.
Rick Camus.
Mr. Hardwick.
Charles Camus.
Mr. Keating.
Rick Camus.
Mr. Usavage.
Rick Camus.
Mr. Perfetto.
Rick Camus.
Mrs. Cassatt.
Rick Camus.
Mr. Camus.
Rick Camus.
Okay,
Now you can vacate your chair.
okay, I think I've had enough. Thank you, everybody. I
We-
appreciate it.
Good job, Tom. Good job.
Good job.
Let's see how good I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, congratulations.
Nice work.
Thank
As
you
usual.
very much. Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. So I'd like to call for nominations for our vice president.
I'd like to nominate Paul Keating.
Second.
On a roll call, please, or any other nominations? Roll call, please.
Mr. Pazinski.
Paul Keating.
Mr. Damascus.
Paul Keating.
Mr. Hardwick.
Paul Keating.
Mr. Keating.
Paul Keating.
Mr. Usavage.
Paul Keating.
Mr. Perfetto.
Paul Keating.
Mrs. Cassatt.
Paul Keating.
Mr. Camus.
Paul Keating.
Congratulations. Mr. Vice President.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Next, I'd like to schedule the meetings for the 2023 school year, or year,
As said on the.
as said on the second page.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Pazinski.
Yes.
Mr. Damascus.
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick.
Yes.
Mr. Keating.
Yes.
Mr. Usavage.
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto.
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt.
Yes.
Mr. Camus.
Yes. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Now on to our regular December meeting of the Wyoming Valley West School District, December 14th. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Pazinski.
Here.
Mr. Damascus.
Here.
Mr. Hardwick.
Here.
Mr. Keating.
Here.
Mr. Usavage.
Here.
Mr. Perfetto.
Here.
Mr. Majer. Mrs. Cassatt.
Here.
Mr. Camus.
Here. May I stand for a moment of silence, followed by a salute to the flag? In our moment of silence, I'd like everyone to say prayers for the Bellarmine family and the tragic loss that the family has suffered this week. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I have a motion to approve the regular November 9th, 2022 board.
So
meeting
moved.
And special meeting
second,
and November 18th of 2022. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a motion and a second. All in
yes,
Favor?
Aye. Mr. Profetto, second. Did he?
Yes. Motion carries. Student representatives, John McLaughlin and Jacob Nobraki.
So for our updates from the high school, Jonathan Cardona, Madison Chaco, Catherine Mena Pereira, and Murphy Pick were selected by faculty as seniors of the month for the month of October. For the month of November, Lulia DeBrew, Jade McKenna, Jacob Nobraki, and Savannah Rose Serrano were selected by faculty as seniors of the month. The students were honored at a breakfast with a faculty guest of their choosing. They received a certificate from administration, and their photograph was featured in the local newspapers and on the high school webpage. Congratulations to these seniors. The winter band concert was held at the high school on Sunday, December 4th. Miss Bly, who is one of our elementary band and music teachers, was a featured soloist during the program. Seniors attended the Florida trip to Disney last week, and high school athletes and band members received their certificates, letters, and pins during the Fall Sports Awards ceremony held on December 8th. Student Council participated in Salvation Army bell ringing on December 6th and 8th at Market 32. Tuesday, December 13th was a club day at the high school, and the orchestra concert was also held on this day, the 13th. Wyoming Valley Alcohol and Drug Services and Student Council hosted the annual Sober Campaign program this afternoon, which featured multiple speakers. Participants were asked to place red ribbons on their vehicles and sign the Sober Pledge. On Saturday, December 17th, the PBIS team is hosting a faculty trivia game at 1 p.m. at the high school. The Spartan Food Drive will conclude on Monday, December 19th. Donations are used for food baskets for fellow Spartans and for donations to the Holy Family Food Pantry.
Student Council is currently selling candy cane for a friend for $1. Delivery will be Wednesday, December 21st. Proceeds from the sale will benefit Luke Hans, who is battling metastatic germ cell cancer. On Monday, December 19th, there will be a counselor from Children's Service Center at the high school providing presentations to all high school students regarding suicide awareness and prevention. On Tuesday, December 20th, our orchestra will be performing holiday selections during all lunches. On Tuesday, December 20th at 7 p.m. in the high school gym, the Student Council is hosting a dodgeball tournament benefiting senior Luke Hans. We hope you will join us in supporting Luke in his battle with metastatic germ cell cancer. The admission is $5. On Wednesday, December 21st, the high school concert choir members will sing at the Pennsylvania State Capitol. The concert choir was invited to perform by newly elected State Representative Alec Rinkavich of the 119th District, who is a Wyoming Valley West graduate. On Thursday, December 22nd, our high school music department will lead our student musicians in performance for all high school students. On Friday, December 23rd, our music department will treat our building to caroling. The winter wave of Keystone exam testing will take place in the month of January. The testing schedule is as follows. January 4th and 5th, biology exams. January 6th, makeup biology exams. January 9th and 10th, literature exams. January 11th and 12th, algebra exams. And January 13th, algebra and literature makeup exams.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Merry Christmas. Before we move on, I would just like to announce that there was an executive session held prior to this meeting. We discussed potential litigation and an employee contract. Mr. Tosh?
Thank you, Mr. Camus. Congratulations again to Mr. Camus as president, Mr. Keating as vice president. Mr. Needle reports at State Street that State Street's Positive Behavioral Intervention Support, PBIS team, the Armor team, recently had a fundraiser to collect donations for the St. Vincent's de Paul Kitchen. Students and staff were encouraged to team up against hunger by wearing their favorite team gear and bringing $1 to donate. Students and staff raised more than $400. Congratulations. As I mentioned last board meeting, the district middle school, Mr. Bond reports the district met with members of the Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeastern Pennsylvania to launch an exciting new program called Beyond School Walls. This is a corporate mentoring program partnership with Hamilton Lane, a leading global investment manager. The middle school is looking to implement the program with financial literacy standards currently being taught to 8th grade students. And to become a mentee, students must apply for the program, be interviewed, and selected to participate. Since our last meeting, 20 students in 8th grade have been selected and now will be mentored by Hamilton Lane on Montage Mountain beginning in February. Mrs. Carey announces at the high school, pleased to recognize 2 of Our Lady Spartan athletes. Lola Wojciechowski was named the Citizens Voice Girls Soccer Player of the Year. Lola is in her sophomore year. She helped lead the girls soccer team in their first district championship. And also Mackenzie Perluke was named the Citizens Voice Athlete of the Week. Mackenzie's in her junior year. She scored 26 points on Tuesday in the Mike Duda Memorial Tip-Off Classic, earning her outstanding player honors. Mr. DePrimo at Dana Street reports that Dana Street students raised more than $250 in grocery gift cards for St. Vincent de Paul Soup Kitchen for the month of November. And Mr. Dickton reports Third Ave kicked off their Toys for Tots drive and will conclude December 15th. Students have already begun to collect toys. Mr. Navraki at Chester Street and I last week met via Zoom with representatives of King's College to propose a creative and innovative partnership between Wyoming Valley West and King's College. Kids at King's would place Chester Street students on the campus of King's College once a month, being educated in STEAM, science, technology, reading, English, and math by education majors at King's College. The potential partnership would run monthly, beginning in January until May, and then potentially in the summer. More information will follow. And just to reiterate what Mr. Camus had said, please again, please keep in your thoughts and prayers our solicitor, Mr. Greg Fellerman, who tragically lost his daughter this past weekend. Thank you, Mr. Camus.
Thank you, Mr. Tosh. Statements from interested citizens. We have Amy Carosa, please.
Hi, good evening. Amy Carosa, 44. I just found out last week that our district has implemented the Rhythm app. I didn't find this information out through the district website or a robocall or at a board meeting. The Rhythm app is not mentioned anywhere in the district's comprehensive plan or special education plan. I found out about Rhythm's implementation through Facebook. Various parents were discussing that their children were required to answer 5 daily questions about their mental well-being before being allowed to start their first period. When did the district purchase the Rhythm software? And how long is the contract? How will the data be collected? How is it going to be evaluated? How is it used? There's a lot of questions. Students in the app are asked the same 5 questions every single day and are to answer with one of 6 emojis. So if Rhythm, it sounds like is some kind of mental health assessment tool, but why weren't parents asked for consent prior to implementation? Were there studies that were done to show that this app improves anything? And as parents know, middle school, especially and high school students, they can have bad days and they don't always like discussing their feelings. So how reliable and accurate is the data collected on these students going to be? I would imagine some students don't even read the questions. They probably just select an emoji and move on. That's extremely problematic to me if these surveys are used for further interventions, which begs another question: what will determine a further intervention? And what does that intervention entail? Some weeks in which students are taking tests, I would think a lot of kids might feel some anxiety, especially if they didn't study enough. But if they use the anxious emoji, say for 3 days in a row, should they expect a trip to the guidance office in their future? I think parents should have been provided more details prior to this implementation and given an opportunity to ask questions about this new app that will be implemented for every student in every school in the district. I also think the district should let parents know that this is not mandatory and opt-out forms should be provided for those parents not interested in having their children's mental health assessed. The Rhythm website indicates that based on their responses to the 5 questions, students are then given a tempo score. So the school is now grading our kids' mental health with a tempo score. What do these tempo scores mean and who sees them? Are parents allowed access to the student's scoreboard or dashboard, whatever it's called? Parents and taxpayers are paying for the academic education of children, not for daily mental health assessments. I'm assuming that Rhythm was purchased with ESSER ARP funds, and I understand that SEL is a requirement for the ESSER grant, but I still feel that Rhythm would be something parents should be able to opt into if they feel their child would benefit, not something parents have to opt out of. Regardless, the administration and school board should be keeping parents informed about what's going on and how the ESSER grant money is being spent. We get robocalls for fundraisers and activities that are going on, but not about an SEL curriculum that's being implemented district-wide. Help me understand why parents weren't better informed about this and how the data collected is going to be used. And I also request that this be part of the meeting minutes. Can something be put on the district website for parents to get some more information about Rhythm and the opportunity to opt out?
So Ms. Carosa, I'm going to do my best to answer your multiple questions.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to stop
That's
and
fine.
start.
So please bear with us and we'll
Yeah.
try to answer everything.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Tosh, I'm assuming she's speaking about Coop, correct?
No, Rhythm's different.
It is?
Yeah, it's different.
So I'm gonna have to hand this over to Mr.
Yeah.
Tosh because
I-
I thought it was.
I'm going to have Mr. Navraki give you some background on it. My assumption was, I thought, didn't you have a conversation with Mr. Kelly at the high school? And from my understanding, he explained that everything to you?
No, he answered my questions. I asked him if Rhythm was being implemented and he said yes. And he told me a little bit about it, but
Yeah.
that was the only, I have seen nothing on the district webpage. My daughter has,
Okay.
neither of my daughters have been
Yeah.
sent home anything. So Mr. Kelly was great about answering the questions, but
Right.
he couldn't tell me why it wasn't on the website.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
Okay.
It's not cool.
It's not.
No,
It's
So-
something
so-
totally
so, Mr.
different.
Rosa, I feel as though most of the board members don't really know what that.
Yeah.
what
And
that
that's
is.
concerning too.
So,
Mr. Navraki, would you just explain to them with what we're doing with Rhythm?
Rhythm was purchased in August of this year, as part of our, ESSERS, the, ESSERS 3. Rhythm is a software, that has students check in, with moods throughout. There's 3 emojis established for the elementary, 5 for the secondary. Students, it's research-based. It's approved by Pennsylvania State School Boards Association. It meets the criteria of MTSS and RTI. So it is evidence-based program and it is, we're rolling it out very slowly. Students that have the ability to check in at this point in time with their account. Have the teacher has the information posted in the Google Classroom. In addition to that, there is a handout that goes home. When we roll it out to the entire school, we will have information placed on the website. The data that's collected goes to our guidance. It's another tool to help regulate students with some mindfulness, some meditation activities. They take 45 seconds. The check-in takes about a minute. You certainly can opt out of it. You do not have to have your children involved with the Rhythm app. I will tell you, in the short time that we've released it to different areas of the school district, the results have been excellent. Yes, there's going to be cases where students input any type of nonsensical answers. You'll have that, but there are students that take it very serious. Guidance counselors are really in tune with their students, and if they see any type of concerning issues, any patterns, they will certainly address it. We've had a number of situations this year, including a suicide, and this is one of the reasons that we implement tools such as this to help engage and try to prevent situations from going any further. So basically, you're asked to answer a few questions throughout the check-in, and of like a 45-second video plays with that. We will have information posted on the website later on. We did introduce this back in August, but again, parents will be given a choice to opt out if they so choose.
Thank you, Mr. Nabrocki. I believe one of Ms. Carosa's other questions was, how was this funded?
The ESSERS, it's in a 20%. We have it purchased, I believe, for a year, Mr. Tosh, am I correct? Right.
And Mr. Nabrocki, just to make sure I remember well, under ESSERS, it's a requirement to use those dollars toward mental health or
Right.
in that area.
Right.
So it's not where we
right.
took money and said, gee, we're just going to do this. It's a part of the requirement for that segment of dollars.
Right. And we're behind. We usually don't jump on things right off the bat. There are a number of districts throughout the area that have this app. I believe, I don't want to name them, but I know a few of them I had spoken to. They had it a year or two prior to us, and the results are pretty positive. The participation does drop throughout. I know some of the rumors that were thrown out there were, if students didn't answer, they were sent to the principal or so on and so forth. That's not true. It is, it's for those students that feel a need or to reach out to check in with it. And it's for the faculty also. It's not just for students. It's also for faculty. There's 243 videos on there. And there's actual tips for lesson plans and classroom management. I mean, it's an outstanding tool. The website's has some pretty good explanations on it. I'm just trying to think of some of the other questions, but again, we'll roll it out to the district and put some more information on our website once we established a date. We did a little small test run at the high school. Mrs. Carey was really good with getting a member of the English department to roll it out. To get any bugs out. And again, the data goes to our guidance and to administrators, anything alarming. Obviously we want to be concerned about stuff like that. The more tools, the better. Between Rhythm, Couth, they're safe to say we have so many different tools out there. Some people think there are too many. But again, if somebody wants to use one of those particular tools over another, then that's to our advantage. Because there are students that are taking it very serious so far. That's the feedback I got from the guidance.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nabrocki.
Okay.
Did we get most of them? Thank you. And again, it's not mandatory for your job. Anyone else? So I just want to encourage everyone, we are starting a new sign-in policy. If you'd like to approach the board, please try to sign in.
James Baldwin, West Wyoming. So I understand there's a new policy on speaking at the meeting. So I just
Yes.
wanted clarification on that because I don't remember there was ever any discussion. I know at the last work session, there was discussion that that was going to happen, but can you possibly just explain that? I don't want to waste all my time. So maybe after
So.
I
so
speak
we're
on
gonna-
other
We're
stuff,
gonna
I
start
won't.
asking everybody to sign in prior to the meeting, so we know what and have an idea what they want to speak about.
Okay, so this is out of curiosity. So what if somebody shows up to the meeting and doesn't sign in? Are they going to be told they can't speak?
Well, that's the idea behind it, yes. There's
Okay.
a big list here and we want to get through a meeting, yes, that's kind of the idea behind it, yes, sir.
Okay, so someone would be denied
No,
their First
they would not be
Amendment
denied.
rights of free speech and right to petition their government for redresses of grievances, which is a right that everyone up there swore an oath to defend. I just want to make sure because you,
Sir, if I might, it's clearly legal to set reasonable restrictions with regard to those matters. And a sign-in sheet has certainly been considered to be reasonable, as have time limits with regard to speaking. So this isn't an infringement on your First Amendment rights. It's clearly been established that this is a legitimate restriction for the government to request people to sign in on a sign-in sheet, list their where they reside, and the topics they'd like to discuss.
right, I was just asking the question, if someone chooses not to, and they show up at the meeting, say they show up at the meeting halfway through the meeting, or say they show up at the meeting and they feel inspired from something that they hear somebody say, they obviously have a right to speak about that, right?
Not according to what we're trying to do now.
No, with the sign-in requirement, they'll be required to sign in order to speak.
So this is my personal opinion, but I think it takes a lot for people to even come to a school board meeting and have the courage to speak in front of a group. Public speaking's a tough thing for people. So to have that added burden to people, oh, you need to sign in, people are going to be nervous about that, might not want to do that. So I know you're saying that this is a new policy, but as a member of the public, I would say, and I think other people would agree, I think that's unnecessary at this time. And I think it's wrong.
Again, sir, that's your opinion.
Okay, thank you for that. The other thing was just following up on what was mentioned previously regarding the Rhythm app. I just have some concerns that this was brought out without parental knowledge beforehand. It's my understanding that the PA law states that a parent should have been notified of this particular app being used. According to 22 PA Code 12.41, subsection 4D, it states, this is Pennsylvania law, when student assessments using individual surveys are administered, parents or guardians shall be informed of the nature and scope of the surveys and of their relationship to the educational program of their child, consistent with section 445 of the General Education Provisions Act, 20 USCA 1232H, regarding protection of pupil rights. Parents or guardians or the student, if the student is 18 years of age or older, shall have the right to refuse to participate in the survey by means of procedures established by the school entity. So my question is, why wasn't the public made aware of this Rhythm app and this mental health survey that is happening before tonight?
So I cannot answer the legal side.
Yeah, I'd have to look at this, or I couldn't give you an opinion right here, sitting here, as to whether or not the app that we're talking about would be covered by the statutory, and actually it's not you referenced a regulation, not a statute, but I can look into it and give the board some input on that by the next meeting. I just don't have an answer sitting here.
Okay, like I said, there is a US code as well, 20 US code 1232H.
I heard the references you made.
Mr. Tosh, do you have something you wanted to add?
No, no, I'm good, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mike Potsko, I'm from Hanover Township, but I was wondering if you had a copy of the reorganization meeting agenda with the meeting, just so I can have the meeting schedule.
Pardon me, sir?
Just so I can have the meeting schedule. Yeah.
Oh, the meeting schedule?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'd just like to point out quick that you're taking official action by approving minutes prior to public comment. That should probably be after public comment. Just as a heads up.
They were they were last month's meeting.
Yeah, last
month's meeting.
right. The public should be able to review the minutes and comment on them before you
So
approve the
our minutes
minutes.
are posted.
I know, but you're not allowing public comment prior to the official action of approving them.
Public comment can't change the minutes though.
Yeah, you can amend them. If somebody finds that the minutes are off a little bit from what they said. I mean, it could be, very clerical in nature, but they should still have the ability to comment on any official action prior to it being taken.
I've been doing this 20 years and I've never seen where the minutes aren't approved prior to the public comment, but look, I can research it. I'll give you
Well,
my
I've
opinion.
had I'm from Hanover and they have had to amend minutes before. That's why they've moved it because of that. Because
So under question on a motion, that's when the board member up here that's sitting up here would actually ask to change their version of.
I know that the public, whoever makes public comment might want to clarify something that was misrepresented in the meeting minutes. Once they have a chance to,
We'll have our solicitor look
Yeah,
into it and
that's
make a
fine,
review.
yeah.
I mean, I don't understand, I don't agree with it, but we'll have
Well,
him look into it.
like I said, it's any official action requires public comment prior to. This is official action, whether it's approving a previous meeting or not. It's just,
Yeah.
it's something that our solicitor changed. So I wanted to,
Yeah, I understand the point. I'll take a look at it, but I appreciate you bringing that to our attention.
could I have the,
I'll give them to you after the meeting.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Committee reports. Mr. Bassett, do you have anything?
No, nothing since our meeting last week.
Mr. Keating? You have anything?
Only thing I'd like to do is clarify that at the work session when Mr. Widiak presented us with our numbers, there is more money in our capital account. There's a little over $2 million, almost 2.4 million. There was another account. There's two counts, one at First Fidelity, one at First Keystone. So we still have north of $2 million in our capital account. And I think it's important for the whole board and public that's here, our faculty to know that, we were starting this school year staring at north of a $4 million deficit. And according to Mr. Widiak's numbers, heading into the midpoint of this year, our fund balance is sitting at just a little north of $5 million. So by working together and making some tough decisions, we're really trying our best to move our district in the right direction and hopefully with this coming budget year, we'll be able to make some tangible investments back into the district. That's all.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Keating. Mr. Hardwick, do you have anything on that, sir?
No, I don't, not at this time. Thank you.
Safety Committee, Mr. Dickon, do you have anything this evening? Brian, do you have anything on technology?
No updates, Rick, since last week.
I think we got everything. I would just like to announce for Buildings and Grounds that we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow at District Office, a very brief meeting, to discuss the girls' dugouts, to try to get that design finalized, so we can present probably something in January, hopefully, and, we're gonna discuss redesigning Third Avenue through the Essers. More to follow. General recommended action items, 1 through 12.
So moved.
Second.
On a roll call, please.
Mr. Krasinski,
Yes.
Mr. Damascus,
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick,
Yes.
Mr. Keating,
Yes.
Mr. Savage,
Yes.
Mr. Perfetto,
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt,
Yes.
Mr. Kamis.
Yes. Staff recommended action, items 1 through 12. I have a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second on a roll call, please.
Mr. Pazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Dabascus?
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick?
Yes.
Mr. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Profetto?
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt?
Yes.
Mr. Kamis?
Yes. Finance recommended action, bills for payment and the finance manager's report. So Woody, do you have anything this evening?
No report tonight.
Thank you. May I have a motion to pay the bills, please?
So moved.
Second.
On a roll call, please.
Mr. Pazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Dabascus?
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick?
Yes.
Mr. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Profetto?
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt?
Yes.
Mr. Kamis?
So I'm sorry.
Mr. Kamis.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, I forgot to include the treasurer's report for paying, to approve the treasurer's report, so I'm gonna ask for another motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second. On a roll call, please.
Mr. Pazinski?
Yes.
Mr. Dabascus?
Yes.
Mr. Hardwick?
Yes.
Mr. Keating?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Profetto?
Yes.
Mrs. Cassatt?
Yes.
Mr. Kamis?
Yes. Board member comments around the table?
You know, I'd just like to comment on some of the good things I've seen over the last month up from the high school with our student council and being in swim team, being involved with the Plymouth Rotary, handing out gift baskets to families in our area. Great job. The middle school here with Mr. Coates and his chorus. They were over they were down at the Capitol. They were over at our county and just doing a great job promoting our district and some of the good things. So thank you for those efforts.
Very quickly, Mr. Camus, Mr. Keating, congratulations on reelection. I look forward to working with the entire board in the coming year to keep our momentum going. I think there's a lot of good things happening and proud to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same here. I look forward to working with with my fellow board members and getting to do more for our district. This first year has been a big learning curve for all of us. I do think we're making progress and there's a lot more to come. We're taking what we hear from the people that come here, our faculty, number one, security and safety for the kids. We're making investments into increased security, as you know, more armed guards at this school, high school, this whole board and the administration. We're working hopefully toward getting more advanced equipment for scanning and monitoring when the kids come into these buildings for increased preventive measures. I know Mr. Tosh put an email out about us getting out to meet with faculty from the buildings, and that's something that's important to us as well, to meet with the principals and our administration to get to know everyone, hear their concerns. So we look forward to doing that in the coming months of the new year. And Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to everyone, and keep our Solicitor Fellerman and your thoughts and prayers. So,
Mr. Brzezinski?
No comment.
My turn.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to congratulate Mr. Camus and Mr. Keating respectively on their new roles as board president and vice president. I look forward to working with both of you as well as the rest of the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Savage?
No, sir.
Mr. Tosh, do you have anything to conclude with?
No, thank you.
I would like to thank everybody for putting their trust in me. And I promise I will do the best I can do for you in this district. And I promise, I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Our next scheduled meeting is work session is January 4th at 7 p.m. And our regular monthly meeting to follow that will be January 11th at 7 p.m. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion